You're probably wondering, why the hell is she doing a voiceover to a Storytime video? Well, let me tell you. So, my boyfriend and I are not moved yet. We are actually staying with family right now because the lady that we were supposed to rent the place off of, she was super unprofessional. She wouldn't send over the lease, and she could not have screwed us over at a worse time. Because since it was a 4-day weekend, nobody would answer the phone, so that way we could go look at places. And I'm not saying it's anybody else's fault. All I'm saying is that this lady really screwed us over, so it's kind of her fault, to be honest. Anyway, so currently we are staying with family, and the house is really loud, and if I would have just done this video regularly, then it would have took me hours to finish. Alright, so I do tell these story times at a first-person point of view. If you don't like that, hit the road. Today's story time was sent in by an anonymous user.
So before we get into this video, I would like to give a big shout out to Model Ones for sponsoring today's video. They sent me their nail gel lipstick kit, which is extremely friendly to beginners, which is great for me because I don't do my nails. I think the one time that I got into a routine of doing my nails was in 5th grade when I finally let them grow out. But it comes in this beautiful pink packaging, and besides the fact that this is very friendly to beginners, it's also a great gift. Like, I know multiple people that I've went to school with who have went to school to do nails and stuff like that. This would be a great gift to give somebody who wants to go to cosmetology school for nails, or even just in general. So I'm gonna finally open up this kit and show you everything that's inside. So the first thing that we have is this cuticle revitalizer oil, and as you can see, I did mess around a little bit with this kit, but I'm going to be redoing them today because I didn't really like how these ones turned out, because this was like my first time ever using the kit. And I was super happy when it came with this because I thought I was gonna have to buy my own online. It comes with a UV LED nail lamp, and this one is actually pink, which I adore because I love pink. The next thing that we got in this kit is these 2 files. I'm pretty sure this one's actually a buffer. Like I said, I'm new to this, so I don't know. And it came with these adorable stickers. I tried some of them out. I don't know if I'm gonna use any today, but we'll see. And it also came with this cuticle pushing tool. All I know is that you stick it on your finger and you go like that. And also we got a scrub brush for our nails. And this part I'm literally so excited for. It came with all of these adorable colors. I've tried the pink so far, but I really want to try like all the other ones. Like, you guys might see me with like different colored nails every time that I post a video. So in the set, it came with a base coat, and it also came with a top coat. And can we just admire the packaging? Like, these are so aesthetically pleasing. They literally look like lipsticks, and the matte bottles are so nice. Let's see if we can do a little ASMR. Okay, so I'm gonna find a way to set you guys up so that way you guys can watch me do my nails. But first I have to take these off. But my friend actually went to cosmetology school, so she let me borrow her drill to sand these off. So I'm gonna go do that real quick and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I just filed down my nails and they are looking a bit crusty right now.
Okay, so after I've cleaned up my nails, I'm gonna go in with my file just because I do plan on putting on glue on nails today because my nails are so ruined from acrylics. Now I'm just gonna go with my cuticle revitalizer oil and push back my cuticles, just because I feel like it looks really messy whenever your cuticles show under the gel polish. Next, I am just gluing on my nails, and I'm making sure that I put enough glue on, and I'm also holding them down for 10 seconds just so that way they're not falling off throughout the day. After I do that, I'm going to go in and I'm going to file down the tips of them and just the whole nail because now we are going to put on our base coat. Now, please be very careful putting on the base coat because if you get even a little bit on your finger and you put it under the light, you are screwed. I accidentally had to redo one of my nails because I got the base coat on the side of my nail and the polish drifted over to there and it looked like I had a deformed fingernail. So after that, I'm just going to put my nails under the lamp that they gave me. These are all the pretty colors that they gave me, and I know I said I was going to pick a different color, but of course I went with pink again. But like I said earlier, make sure not to get this on your skin or anything because like I said, as soon as you put it under that lamp, you are going to have a terrible time trying to get it off. By the way, with this gel polish, less is always more. So this is what they look like after a very thin first coat. I'm just going to put on my second coat, and to be honest, all I feel like you need for this kit is 2 coats, because when I had messed around with this beforehand, I put on like 4 coats and it just didn't look right. Finally put on my top coat. I did put on a few stickers and I actually love how they turned out. By the way, put the top coat over the stickers, and this is how they turned out. I'm super proud of myself. This is the best that I've ever done my nails literally in my life, and I cannot wait to play around with this kit some more. Story time about how my best friend cheated on his girlfriend with me. Okay, so a little background information. We're gonna call him Gavin. So Gavin and I had been best friends since we were probably 4 years old. We went to preschool together. We lived in the same neighborhood. His grandparents were really good friends with my parents. And the reason why I say grandparents is because his parents had passed away from a car crash whenever he was 2. But that's besides the point. You guys get the gist. We were best friends for a very long time. And I always had a really big crush on him. And I would always try to like slyly mention it to him without just seeming like a whole weirdo. But I kind of got a hint that he didn't like me, because every time that I would be like, oh yeah, like I really like you, or like, I don't know, I would just say something that made it obvious that I was trying to tell him that I liked him, and he would always laugh and be like, oh, like you're so funny, like don't joke with me like that. And I'm like, okay. It's like he played it off as he didn't want me to say that I liked him because he wasn't into me. So whenever we were in middle school, he would always like have these little girlfriends, and me on the other hand, I just like really was ugly.
Y'all wonder why I always do this, man. It's hard waking up every day and still being fucking ugly. That shit get old. Like, why my glow up keep passing me?
Yeah, no, I just wasn't the best looking in middle school. I did not have my glow up yet. So I was not having any little 2-day relationships or anything like that. Well, during our freshman year, he was actually getting into relationships with multiple girls, and I was supportive of everyone, you know, like I wasn't like that best friend who's like, I don't think she's good enough for you, you know, da-da-da-da-da. No, like I wasn't gonna be like that. And even though I was supportive of every relationship that he had, like I would not say one bad word about these girls, he would still block me on everything and pretend like we weren't friends since we were 4 years old. Okay, so fast forward to my sophomore year. Over the summer, your girl finally had a glow up, and boys were asking me on dates, you know, they were saying that they liked me, da-da-da-da-da, the whole 9 yards, sis. Now, clearly throughout this whole time, I still liked my best friend. But to be honest, I tried to suppress those feelings because I was done getting, what's the word, low-key rejected. Well, he had broken up with his girlfriend, he unblocked me on everything, we started hanging out again, and he was asking me about these dudes that were on my phone, and I was like, oh, like I'm talking to some of them. And he went through every single one and literally talked shit on all of them. He was like, ooh, don't date him, he smells weird. Ooh, don't date him, you can't date a dude that's shorter than you, blah, 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 blah. So I said, okay, well, who do you think I should get with? He was like, I don't know, none of these dudes are your type, though. And I'm kind of just sitting there thinking, like, why would he be acting like this if he didn't like me? Anyway, so I started talking to this dude named Trey, and him and I had been talking for, I want to say, like a month, and I guess Gavin found out from a few of his friends, and he texted me saying, ooh, you're gross, da-da-da-da-da, and then the next day he literally got into a relationship. But weirdly enough, this time he did not block me on any social media or anything like that. He actually started texting me more. He was like, oh yeah, me and my girl, we took these pictures today, like look at this. And you know, I would be supportive, like I said, like I would be like, oh, you guys are so cute, you know, da 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 da. Well, the one night, I want to say it maybe 2 a.m, he had texted me asking if I was awake, and I think this was on a weekend, I'm not sure though, but I said yeah. He was like, oh, like, can I come over? So he came over to my house, and he was like, I don't know what to do, like, I'm really stuck right now. And I was like, what's wrong? And he's like, I don't have feelings for her anymore, I never did have feelings for her. And this was maybe like a few weeks into their relationship. So I'm like, okay, then why did you start dating her? And he was like, oh, like, you're so stupid, like, I can't believe that you, like, don't realize that I freaking like you. And I'm like, sis, I tried telling you for years years that I was into you. So after that, I just told him to leave because I don't know where he thought it was okay to just come over now and tell me years later that he finally likes me whenever I've been trying to tell him for years. Like, sis, where is it okay to do that? Exactly. It's not okay to do that shit as soon as I get into a relationship too. So he ends up staying with this girl, and I want to say a month later. By the way, him and I did not talk at all. Like, we cut off all communication after that until the one day my family had a cookout at our house and his grandparents were invited and so was he. Well, he came over and we didn't talk for literally like the first 2 hours, and then eventually he texted me and he said, do you want to talk? And at this point I had more feelings for him because of the fact that he literally came over and told me that he liked me that night. So I was thinking about just risking it all, breaking it off with Trey, having him break it off with his girlfriend and everything. So I said yeah. We went and we talked, and he was like, you should come over tonight, you know, my grandparents, they're gonna be visiting my aunt, so I have the house to myself tonight. So I go over there and we're hanging out, we're talking, and he said, you should break up with Trey. And I was like, okay, well, I think you should break up with her. So eventually one thing leads to another. We end up doing the nasty, and I go home like at 3 a.m. that night. I wake up and I am blocked on everything again. So I drag my ass out of bed, I get up, I walk to his house, and I go through the back door because the back door like led to his bedroom, and I literally just start pounding on his door. And who opens it? His girlfriend. Mind you, it's like 9 a.m. Like, how are you gonna invite your girlfriend over after like us doing the nasty 6 hours ago? Make it make sense, sis. So she opens the door, and girl had an attitude as soon as she saw it was me. She was like, what do you want? And I was like, is Gavin here? And she was like, yeah, he's in the shower. Why? So me, trying not to punch this girl in the face, I'm being really nice. I'm like, oh, like, I just really need to talk to him. And eventually she's like, well, he doesn't want to talk to you, so I think you should just walk home. So then I decided to tell her what we did last night. And she's like, why do you think I would believe you? And I was like, okay, sis, go check right next to his nightstand. Because when I left last night, I did not have time to put on all my clothes, so I left my underwear by his nightstand. Sis goes over by his nightstand, and what does she see? My underwear. And she literally says, no, those are mine. Bruh. So at this point, I literally just leave, and I am thinking of what the hell I should do. Because 1, I cheated on Trey. 2, Gavin cheated on his girlfriend. That night, I go over to his house, and it was a school night, and his grandparents were really strict, so I knew that he wasn't going to be able to have his girlfriend over that night. I knocked on the back door, and I was like, hey, like, what the fuck? Why'd you block me on everything? And why is your girlfriend making up excuses for you cheating on her? And he was like, to be honest, you should just leave or I'm going to tell Trey what we did. And after that, I left because I wasn't going to ruin the one good thing that I had. Well, my family had like a end of the summer cookout type of thing. And once again, his grandparents were invited. And him and I hadn't talked since school ended, which was like 3 months before this. And I had Trey at the cookout, and he had his girlfriend. Now, I still have feelings for him, but it was just so funny sitting there knowing that she knew that I screwed him, and he would be pissed off if she told my boyfriend. But after that day, he invited me over the one night, and he was like, listen, I just want this to be friends with benefits. So now we are currently doing the nasty and just not telling our partners about it, even though his girlfriend knows what we're doing. Like, she found text between me and him apparently, and then she hid his phone and put herself on FaceTime with him before she left the one night, so that way she could see if I came over. But yeah, she's just a whole weirdo. I'm just kidding. If my man was cheating on me and I couldn't say anything, then I'd probably be doing the same thing. Alright guys, so that is officially the end of this video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and to see when I post my next video, make sure to click that bell. I am trying to post every Friday, but it's not really working, and if you want to see more of me, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and if you want to send in your anonymous story time, make sure to click the link down below. Love you guys.
Something
absolutely terrifying happened to both me and my friend today, and I just figured that I would jump on here and share exactly what happened. So you guys know that I like to do things that are very spooky, haunted. I like to vlog that, but I'm with my friend this weekend who absolutely despises that stuff, and she asked me ahead of time to go to Eureka with her, and I figured that'll be a nice break from doing something spooky. It's Pride Month, we're meeting friends out here. Brad and his husband JR are here. And since Branson doesn't have a gay bar, the closest that we could get to and that they could get to is like meeting in the middle and Eureka. We made sure that we got a place that was close to the bar so that we could walk home, we could have fun. We made sure that we had our ones ready for the drag queens. But on the way down, jokingly, we were like, what if this place was haunted? My friend purposely didn't book the Crescent in order to avoid staying at a haunted hotel tonight. So she was like, oh, perfect. Like, let me pick something else. Let me pick the New Orleans hotel. That's close to the bar. That's perfect. And when she called to book, there was only one room available left. Only one room, which was like a suite. So we're like, okay, cute, bougie. We can take pictures in there, whatever. So of course we go to Google and look up the New Orleans hotel, and there's a whole site dedicated to the hauntings in this building. And let me read you exactly what we read on the website. It was reported that while staying at the location in room 106, a person had someone sit on the edge of the bed that they were sleeping in. The person sleeping was a male, and it had freaked him out so much that someone had gone into his room at night and much less had the nerve to just plop down on their side of the bed, that he came up fighting only to realize he was just fighting air. He got up and checked the room, and there was no one in there. And not only this, but all of the hauntings are surrounding room 106. So on the way down, we were like, oh, well, there's only one room available anyways. Probably don't have anything to worry about. People who like haunted stuff usually book that room ahead of time. Well, guess which room was booked? And this isn't even the most terrifying story. If you want to hear the most terrifying story, I'm going to talk about it in the next part. My best friend and I accidentally got stuck in the most haunted room in a hotel on a girls' weekend trip. And this was an experience that happened in this room, New Year's 2022. So this past New Year's. My friend and I stayed at the New Orleans hotel this past New Year's and stayed in room 106. Before we got there, we called to see if our room was ready because we're going to be showing up a little bit earlier than anticipated. And the clerk let us know that our room was in fact ready. She told us that our room was 106, which was up the stairs, to the left, and down the hall. So we went upstairs to go find our room, but couldn't find it. It wasn't there. And feeling silly, we continued to look around for it, but still couldn't find it. So we went backstairs, let the clerk know, and she came up to show us exactly where the room was at and led us to there. It was exactly where she told us it was, and it was exactly where we had went before, but our door was wide open and trash inside. The lady apologized, telling us that it was clean earlier and that they would clean it ASAP. I wish we would have taken a picture of the room, knowing what we know now about the room. The bed was unmade, there was trash all over. There was these Google eyes all over and even underneath the bed. But the most weird item was what looked like a black bar of soap, with a dirt black rag underneath it on the bedside lamp table on the left when we walked in. And we told the lady that we would be back in a little bit so that they could clean it. Later that night, my friend and I got back from a night out, and we were already a little bit spooked because we did one of the ghost tours at the Crescent Hotel. We decided that we would sleep with the lights on because we get spooked pretty easily. And abruptly at about 2 a.m. I was awoken because someone sat down next to me at the edge of my bed. I screamed, sat up, and told my friend exactly what happened. The rest of the night, neither of us were able to sleep. It felt like there was a presence in the room and an overall heaviness, like there was someone else in there with us. Later that morning, my friend and I checked out and went to breakfast. My friend and I were discussing what happened that night, and she told me at breakfast that she actually had an experience, but didn't want to tell me because she already knew that I was so freaked out. She told me she heard someone come in the room and heard the bathroom sink turn on. My friend and I decided that for some reason, whatever was there didn't want us staying in the room that night, considering that we couldn't find the room whenever we first got there and it was totally trash. So we're gonna be vlogging our whole night here. I think it's a little bit weird that it was two best friends that came to stay here who just wanted a night out and had that experience. And now we're two best friends who just want to stay here and have a night out. And I'm curious to see what experiences happen tonight. I'm gonna try to stay up till 2 a.m. and see why the thing might not want us here. So my brother said that he saw a ghost as a kid, but a couple years later, I found out what he really saw. So I found this really creepy story on Reddit that I want to share with you guys today, and I honestly wish we would do neon clown looks all year long. So I was about 7 years old while my brother was about 10. It was well past our bedtime when my mom woke up off the couch to put us to bed. Our dad worked construction out of town back then, so it was just the three of us at the house for weeks at a time. Upstairs and immediately to the right was our parents' bedroom, and going left put you in the middle of the hallway. Taking left down this hallway led to my brother's room. And on the very opposite end was my room, which was also across the hall from the upstairs bathroom. And at either end of the hallway are window doors that we always kept locked and rarely used. The door on my end led to a balcony that overlooked the front yard. And the door on my brother's end opened to the back porch. And both my brother and my mom had a habit of waking up in the middle of the night to go use the restroom. I only knew this because I was a light sleeper. This night, however, my brother stopped on his way to his room and came back towards the bathroom. He said that he's gonna pee before he goes to bed because the last few nights he's been too afraid to walk to the bathroom. And says that he keeps seeing a man wearing stripes at the end of the hallway. Okay, head over to the next part. So my brother told me that he kept seeing a man wearing stripes at the end of the hallway at night. I'm not sure if my mom wrote it off as my brother telling ghost stories to try to scare me, or if she was just half asleep and didn't catch it, but she didn't react at all to my brother's confession. I, on the other hand, was completely terrified by this statement. The fear of seeing a ghost like that at the end of the hallway or through the windows is the reason I started running from the stairs to my bedroom at night. We've all been there. Well, years later, when I was about 18, my mom and I were having a conversation in our car about a dog we had for a very short time when I was little. We were sharing stories about Max's tendency to destroy shoes and other unruly behaviors whenever my mom blurted out, "Do you remember that time I opened the front door for the cops and Max ran inside to the kitchen and started tearing open that big bag of dog food we had?" This really caught me by surprise because in all the years that I had lived in that house, we had never once called the cops. I asked her what she was talking about and she looked at me surprised as if I had just revealed something by accident. She goes, "Oh, that's right. I never told you because you were too young at the time." One night I woke up because I was hearing noises outside my window, and when I looked, I saw a man staring into my bedroom. She went on to describe how turning on the lights caused him to take off running and how she grabbed my dad's pistol before calling the cops. She said, "I can't remember all the details they gave when they showed up. Tall white male, wearing a striped shirt and jeans, short dark hair, something like that." They said that it matched the description for a man they were looking for in the area. It turns out he had escaped from jail on a murder charge. Now, I know it sounds so obvious hearing those two stories back to back, but it wasn't until a few years ago in my mid-20s that I pieced everything together, that my brother had unknowingly warned us about a murderer who spent multiple nights casing our home. Damn. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are in the comments. Did you guys know that Stranger Things is based off of 3 dark CIA projects that happened in real life? And these all include Project Stargate, MK Ultra, and the Montauk experiments. So as most of you guys know, Stranger Things is set in the 80s during the Cold War. The US wanted to be able to control Russian spies and get them to answer all of their questions. They were very offended that they were not the only ones who had access to an atomic bomb anymore. So as an answer to this, the CIA decided to start a project that would create superhumans. The whole purpose of Project Stargate was to manipulate the human mind in order to create heightened psychic abilities so that they could be used in the military for spying purposes. And some of the biggest focuses for this project included telekinesis, remote viewing, and psychoenergetics. Psychoenergetics is a mental process that through heightened cognitive abilities, an individual is capable of changing the characteristics of an item and its position without even touching it. And you can see throughout the show of Stranger Things that Elle is able to pick up and move things with her mind. Psychoenergetics also just reminds me of the Force. But Project Stargate was reported to have partial success with telekinesis and remote viewing. And just a weird, interesting tidbit is that most of the people that possessed these remote viewing skills were actually Scientologists, but we can see in the show that Elle has access to watching other people's conversations. So is it possible that someone has been able to master exactly what Elle can do within the show? The realities of some of these projects, like MK Ultra, is even scarier in real life. Go to the next part. Many terrifying parts of Stranger Things happened in real life, and it genuinely makes me wonder if the CIA has admitted to this stuff. I wonder what they're not admitting to. For example, the Montauk experiments. The Montauk experiments are a conspiracy theory that alleges that there was a series of US experiments done at Camp Hero, and the purpose was not only to develop things like psychological warfare, but also time travel. Stories about the Montauk experiments have been circulating since the 80s. UFO researchers Jacques Vallée and Preston Nichols ended up coming forward with repressed memories about the experience. And the topics included in this book talk about time travel, teleportation, mind control, contact with extraterrestrial life, and staging fake Apollo moon landings. So basically stating that the moon landings videos and photos were allegedly faked by them. And in the book, he talked about how there was a hole ripped in hyperspace which was confined to Montauk, which allowed them to time travel between 1983 and 1943. And this is all included in Stranger Things. Because in Stranger Things, there's a hole torn in space that's threatening all of Hawkins. And in the first chapter of Preston's book, it states that whether you believe this is fiction or nonfiction, you're in for an amazing story. And if you want to know all about MK Ultra, which is what Elle's mom was a victim of in Stranger Things, so on my YouTube, I'm going to be going into depth on what happened during those experiments, and I'll also be going inside a sensory deprivation tank myself to see if I can access the upside down like Elle does.